Hi everyone and welcome back again. In the previous some videos we have only explained the stateless widget, and we said the stateless widget is just like a screen or just like a widget without any interaction, so it's not redraw itself again. It's like a static pages or a static widget, so nothing will change in those types of widgets. Now what about the stateful widget? The widget tree in the stateless widget and stateful widget start with the build function. So the build function will build inside build function. We can return a scaffold widget. Inside scaffold maybe we have center, and then here we have text widget. Inside text we have 0, for example. And in the scaffold we have button, for example float action button. We'll explain that later. So in the stateless widget, so there is no state, there is no variable will change, because what I mean by state is like a variables inside the widget, inside the class. In the stateless widget, this variable will be immutable, so it will never change. You can say it is like a final, any variable, so nothing will change. But in the stateful widget, this variable or this state will change, and depending or based on this change, the UI will change also. So rebuild the widget. For example, here we have a text widget. This text widget, when we click on the button here, 0 will become 1, and then the build widget will rebuild itself again. So just recall the build function again, and the build function will rebuild or redraw again this widget and also this widget, but will change 0 to 1. So the widget will never change without recall the widget or redraw the widget again. So this is the meaning by the stateful widget. How we can do that? In this video I'm gonna start with this example. So we have like this, and if we just click here, as you can see, the widget is changed here. When I say now 6, this is the widget text. Inside this text we have number 6. When I click here, this becomes 7. Not just the numbers change, no, also the widget here, the text widget, is rebuilt itself, redraw itself again. So to change the widget you need to rebuild it again. So how we can do that? Now I will just delete everything and then just create it from scratch. So now we don't have anything, we only have the main, and inside the main we have just my app, it's the home. Now I will create the stateless widget, just a normal stateless widget, and I can name it just my app, just to show you the difference here. Inside it, of course, we have a scaffold. Inside scaffold, like we have body. In the body I can just add in the center something, like for example I can add so I can add here also container. The container we have decoration, we have explained that before. So we have box decoration. The box decoration can add the colors. The color will be colors dot pink, for example, or pink accent. Sorry, here we can add just high, and it will be for example 100, and we have like wood maybe 300, something like that. So we just add this one, and in the decoration I can add also border radius and border radius dot circular. In this way here I can add just 30 circular. Now I need to add a text inside it. So inside the container here, see here, this is the container, start here and close here. So inside the container we have widget, and I can add it in the center as well, and in the center we have child, and then we can add text widget, and inside it now I can add just 0. I can add just some style for that, text style. Then we have in the text style we have font size maybe like 50, and we have also I can make it bold, so I can say font width will be bold, so font width dot. Now if I run the application will be like this. So perfect, that's what I need here. Now what about the button here that we can add it? So I will add the float action button. Float action button exists inside the scaffold. So scaffold, if you press Control and go to the scaffold, you can see we have up bar, we have body, also we have float action button. So in the scaffold, anywhere of course, just click here so you can see the scaffold started here and ending here. So you can, after that, inside scaffold, you can add a float action button. It will be class float action button. Inside it, we have many things, but the most important thing is on a press, and there's like anonymous function. We will use it to increase the number. Also, we have a child. So in the child, I can add just icon, and inside it just icons dot plus, for example, and the size I can add it like 50. So we need just to check perfect from here. So this is the action I just add here. So on the press I can change it. Now just pay attention, we have a stateless widget. So see here in the stateless widget, now I can delete that because it's not gonna be a constant. You cannot add a constant and then add a variable. But by the way, I can add here integer counter, for example, equals 0. So started by 0. We can do that, but if you see here, we have a problem. Say the class is inherited from it's immutable. So this class stateless widget immutable, so you cannot add anything changeable. You should add it like this, final, because never be changed. But now I'll just try to show you what's the problem here. Now I add it here. Then when user click on the button here on a press, so the counter will change, will be just a plus. So it will become plus 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And I'm gonna here just print it here. Print it in the terminal. Now I need this, instead of 0 in the text, I will add the counter. So you can add just $sign because inside the string, and I can add counter. Now you can see what happened here. If I just run here and try, just see the terminal also. When I click here, see I printed, now become 1. Again become 2. Here become 3. But the problem where? The problem is the widget not change, because stateless widget, so the widget not rebuild itself again, not recall the build function again. This is the problem. If I just add here call hot reload like this, you can see it become 3 because I make hot reload, just recall the build function again, just add the build again, so rebuild the widgets 3. So this is the problem. So we don't need that. We need just to make it by itself. We need to make it run, rebuild, like a refresh by itself without click here. So here in this way, we need to change the stateless widget to the stateful widget. So now I need to change the stateless widget to the stateful widget. First thing, I'll just copy all the scaffold because I don't need to rewrite it again and again. So I'll just copy scaffold, cut the scaffold here. So, and then I will delete everything here. Now we'll create a stateful class. So class here also I can name it my app, same thing, but now it will extend stateful widget in this way. So now we just create return state. It is generic, so the type is the state class. So here I can add anything, but here just call the create state, this function, and this will return a class. So how we can do that? Here outside I will create another class, a class type state. So for state, so I can name it just my app state. You can name it anything, but it's better to say like this. Here my app, and here my app state, because this will handle, or this will store the state for my application, for this application. And this should extend from state. And state, since state is generic, so it should be a type of the inside it my app. So this state will store the state for this my app here. That's it. So now I have a class here, so I can say here the type of this generic, this class state here, state of this class, and it will return back a state. And here is normally just return the build function to build the function, nothing else. Sorry, here just we have this state of my app, because this one, if you just click here, it will accept stateful widget. Here the state accept stateful widget, not a state. So here StatefulWidget, which is this one, StatefulWidget, and then create a class, create state with the state here. This will return state, so we should create a state class here. A state, the type of a state is StatefulWidget. This will keep or will store the state for this StatefulWidget. Now same thing, finish. We just create the build, and the build should be same. We can just here return. So I had already cut the scaffold, so you can just paste it here. Same thing. So now what we can do here, first thing here is StatefulWidget. Now we don't have any problem. So in the state we can just add the counter equals 0. Now here it no problem. This is just a state. After that, here in the text, this just will be counter. Same thing. So we can show or display the counter. And here I can just say counter plus plus here, but not only counter plus plus. Counter plus plus will not do anything. We need to add set state. So with the set state, we can rebuild the widget. We can just recall the build function again. So we can just say here, cut this and say here set state. This is a function. Inside it we have anonymous function like this, just function, and you can use it in this way of course, or just simply in this way. But now since I have only one line, so I can just say this and see a plus. So now we'll set state and we'll change the widget, rebuild the widget. When I say set state simply will recall the build function again. So here we have build function. We'll recall it again, so we'll rebuild the widgets tree in this from scaffold, center, everything. We'll rebuild it again. So now if we just run the application here, you can see if I just click here, it will become 1, become 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So this means the widget will rebuild and rebuild again and again. So I think it's not difficult here. Just we have a StatefulWidget. StatefulWidget just has a state here. Create a state to create a state. State is another class, so we can just return this class and create it here. The class just extend the state to store the state for the StatefulWidget, which is my app. And inside it is like a normal. We have just a variable. You can add any variable you want. We have a build function to build the widgets tree, and inside it I just add the counter, and when the user press just set state just to notify the widgets tree that we need to rebuild the widget, or the widget will redraw itself again. So just plus and will rebuild the widget in the same time. So that's everything. Hope you understand that, and thank you very much.